So I'm VP of Corporate Marketing at Alterian, and so my responsibility is looking at the brand, looking at our overall marketing and brand strategy, creating our thought leadership, running our PR, our public relations worldwide, running our websites, properties, and our communities worldwide. So that's what I do. And Alterian is a software company that is effectively helping companies move from mass marketing to more of engagement with the individual. So trying to help people to individualize communications with people, be that offline or be that online. That's what we focus on. So I suppose moving on to number two, what we do in terms of the digital supply chain, I suppose what we talk about is what we think is a new kind of organizing principle for marketing, which we call the engagement cycle. And this is where if we look at customers go through a buying cycle or a cycle of maturity with an organization, from being completely unknown at one end of the scale to being an advocate at the other end of the scale. And companies these days need an engagement cycle that helps take the customer on that journey through that cycle. So when we, if in context of your digital supply chain, it's sort of we would say our digital supply chain in that is an engagement cycle. So it's a cycle of engagement that takes people through a buying cycle. And so the sort of things that does is that it's where you would feed some content up to somebody in that, in a digital perspective, be that on a website or be that an email. You would then capture the reaction to that person and how they reacted to that particular communication. You could then analyze that behavior based on what you knew about that person or even unknown variables. You can then put that into some insights and decide what you're going to do next for that person based on their preferences, based on their history, based on their geography, umpteen different options and behavioural models that you have around people's personas that are like you, and then you would create content, drawing content from various different sources, and then optimize that content for multi-channel distribution, and then you're back into sending another message out to the person. So when we talk about, if you like, if that's a supply chain, if you want to call that a supply chain, we call it the engagement cycle, and we think it's a really important thing. And in order to get to a point where somebody can run an engagement cycle, you need to have a certain amount of integration within your marketing organization and your marketing technology that people haven't typically had before. Because if you run everything in an isolated way, it makes running that engagement cycle more, much harder. There comes a point where you need to have one view of the data to be able to drive that engagement cycle, and you need a set of applications that integrates with one another so you can drive that cycle. So that's how we define our supply chain of, be it a supply chain of customer engagement. Well, I think the innovation that everyone's trying to get the innovative area that everyone's trying to get their heads around at the moment is this whole area of social media. And I think we've just bought a company called Techragy, which is one of the key, one of the top social media monitoring companies. And what we've done is integrate that into our engagement cycle. So what we're seeing is that suddenly marketeers are waking up to the fact that, social media monitoring gives you, instant market research on, whether people are being positive or negative about your brand, who is having conversations about you, where those conversations are happening, and you can look at sentiment, and you can really drill down on who's having conversations. And so if you can do that, you can then join in the conversation. So it suddenly opens up a whole new way of interacting with people, be that in a B2B space or a B2C space. And we see more and more examples of people using social media as part of that whole engagement cycle with customers, which is much more meaningful and genuine than a hard-nosed one-way sale. Because in the old world of marketing, it was about pushing your message out one way, blasting it out to people. Now it's about a two-way conversation between the organisation and the customer. And we have the innovative areas, everyone trying to work out how best to use this social media stuff across their organisations. I mean, I see the democratisation of marketing through social media, because you're having to open up social media channels to your support people and to your pre-sales people and to your sales people, and so that they can join in the conversation, because everyone's got their expertise in a particular area, and they all need to contribute to making the customer, prospects, whoever it is, understand the company's products and why they're good and how they work and all the rest of it. And by doing that, people are making sales. I mean, TechWatch's entire business was built up on that model themselves. I mean, they also had the tool, but I think that's a huge innovation in the way that any kind of engagement cycle is going to work with people in the future.
Logipy.